In a house on the outskirts of Los Angeles, a man named Brad hears distressing news on the radio. The announcer talks about huge explosions in downtown Los Angeles and Beverly Hills. Worried about his wife, he tries to call her but can't get through because the line is busy. He hears that there are many injuries and that explosions are continuing in the city. When he goes outside, he is shocked to see smoke rising from the houses as the radio announces a state of emergency. Unable to contact his wife, he leaves a voicemail and decides to head downtown to look for her. He reaches a street where police have blocked the road. Realizing he can't get through, he tries to find another way, but every attempt fails. The radio continues to update on the number of injuries and devastation in downtown Los Angeles. The explosions were dirty bombs, so toxic chemicals were also released and are spreading in the city. Authorities are advising everyone to return home and seal off their homes completely. Without wasting time, Brad goes into a store to buy tape and plastic sheeting. As he drives, he spots more police cars on a street and the officers are wearing gas masks. Just then, Brad notices a car racing towards him that is covered in ash. Moments later, police pull it over and tell the driver to stay inside. As he watches, an officer approaches him and insists he return home if he hasn't been exposed to the contamination. Suddenly, he sees the other driver getting out of the contaminated car and trying to escape, but the police shoot at them. Scared, he decides to go home and keeps trying to call Lexi. The reporters are describing the chaos as people desperately try to get past the police barriers. They confirm that the ash is toxic and that the smoke in most areas is getting thicker and smells terrible. In panic, he keeps trying to reach Lexi but still can't get through. With tears in his eyes, he reluctantly seals all the doors and windows with tape and plastic, just as he sees ash falling from the sky. Meanwhile, the radio announces that scientists are arriving in the contaminated areas with mobile labs, and those affected will receive antibiotics later. Heartbroken, he sits down on the floor, hugging himself and crying. Just then, he hears a scream outside. His wife has come back. The explosion happened just a half block away from her car, but she lived through it. However, she is having trouble breathing and coughing hard. She begs to be let inside, but Brad tells her that the bombs were dirty and that everyone in the area is contaminated and dangerous. He asks her to come to the back door, trying to calm her down and explain things, but she doesn't want to listen. He then brings a radio to the door so she can hear the news. The news anchor talks about an unknown virus which has harmful effects, and those who escaped the quarantine area must stay in isolation. The news makes Lexi very angry and upset. She breaks the glass in the door with her phone and begs to be let inside. Brad quickly covers the opening with a pillow and tries to calm her, but she doesn't listen and insists on getting inside. She doesn't want to be alone when she might die. Once Lexi calms down, Brad tells her he loves her, and then dials 911, but he's unable to get through because the line is busy. In the morning, Lexi sees people in protective suits nearby. As she approaches, she notices them taking someone from the street and putting them in a police car. She quickly runs back inside and tells her husband. Brad isolates one room in the house so Lexi won't have to stay outside. Once inside, she eagerly eats and drinks while Brad tries to calm her down, even though he feels hopeless too. A little later, Lexi's mother calls, and she tells her mom that she was at the center of the explosion. Her mother becomes frantic and urges her to get help, but Lexi refuses because she has seen people getting arrested right in front of her. At that moment, a car alarm goes off outside. Looking closer, she sees a child near the car. After she hangs up on her mother, she calls the boy inside and shares her food and water with him. He is scared and alone since his parents went to work early that morning and haven't come back. Brad goes over to Lexi and she introduces him to the boy, who shares how scared he was during the bomb explosion, describing how he saw the ground blow up and how terrified he felt. After hearing the child, Brad decides to let them in so Lexi and the boy can take a shower and wash off the contaminated dust. Lexi worries that the water may be contaminated, but Brad assures her it is safe. That night, after the shower, Lexi sees a man at the back door. She calls out for Brad, but it turns out to be their neighbor, Rick. He informs them about a hospital nearby, which gives them a chance to get help. This news makes Lexi excited, and even though Brad doesn't want to go, she decides to join Rick, believing this is her only option to survive. While sitting alone at home, Brad listens to the news that reports scientists are struggling to understand the virus. After some time, he hears a knock on the door and sees a man in protective gear. He says he is from a special unit for dealing with epidemics and asks Brad many questions to check if he has been around sick people or near the explosion site. Brad tells him that he has stayed at home and only his wife was affected. He also mentions an incident where Lexi accidentally broke a window with her phone, but he quickly fixed it and kept her away. After hearing this, the man tells him that they have to collect samples of ash that could have entered through the broken window. Brad reluctantly follows the given instructions and the sample is taken for testing. A few minutes later, the team returns and puts a red sticker on his house. Confused, Brad asks what this means, but the man and his team ignore his questions and leave. Later, Lexi comes back and tells Brad that she couldn't find help because Rick was taken by the police, but she managed to escape. Brad feels relieved to see his wife and shares what happened when the medics visited. Lexi coughs hard, prompting Brad to ask her to go to the isolated part of the house. She then notices the red sticker on the wall with some writing on it, which frightens her, and she wants to know what it means, but Brad does not have any answers for her. Later on, as Lexi and Brad sit on opposite sides of a door, they hear unusual noises. She decides to check it out with a flashlight and finds a pile of dead birds on the ground. Overwhelmed, she sits down to listen to her voicemail, hearing messages from her husband, her mother, and her friends. When she listens to a message from her brother, she decides to call him for some comfort, knowing he won't actually be able to assist her, but still needing someone to talk to. After a few minutes of conversation, she starts to cough again and quickly hangs up, not wanting to worry him. By morning, Lexi feels worse. While they talk from either side of the door, they reflect on their relationship and how small their arguments used to be. They discuss how much they work and how seldom they see each other. They express their love, share tears, and promise that they will be okay. Their conversation is interrupted when people in protective suits enter and forcibly grab Lexi. She screams and struggles, but it's no use. Brad is furious and yells them to let her go. After taking Lexi away, one of the men comes over to Brad and tells him that she is safe now. He adds that the air inside their home has become deadly and that he himself has also been exposed. Basically, anyone who went out of the house has a chance to survive, but Brad will die for sure. After this, they start sealing off the house with barriers. Brad tries to break free, begging to be let out while he's still alive, but no one listens. They ignore his cries and release gas into the house. Brad tries to cover his face with his shirt and looks for a way out. Once the barriers are in place, the medics surround the house with a protective dome. Lexi pleads for them to let Brad go, but they ignore him. Brad manages to get out to the porch, shouting that he's still alive, but he runs directly into the dome. The medics drive stakes into the ground to seal off the area completely. One officer, losing his patience, hits Brad, who collapses and is unable to rise. Within minutes, he succumbs to the suffocating gas and dies painfully. The medics take Lexi away and explain that they had no choice since the virus in their home had become uncontrollable.